Well, my wife is going to kill me for making this video. Not for making the video so much, but for showing the disaster that is our kitchen right now. Hey y'all, I just wanted to come and talk to you for a minute about something that I actually love doing every year about this time. After Thanksgiving, after the turkeys are done, everybody's had enough turkey, which I don't know how you can if it's good turkey. What do you do with the carcasses? You've got turkey bones, you've got turkey carcasses left over. What do you do with them? I hope, bro, do you even make broth? I hope you do. I hope you make broth or at least soup out of your turkeys. This is something I have done since, I don't know, as long as I can remember. We make soup, we make good stuff. We even put up the meat into chunks. Christy and I will take the turkey that's left over and she'll cut it up in small pieces and bag it up, and I do my best to spell it as wrong as I can, but still make it mostly phonetically correct. Oop, I got a glare. I guess that's going to happen. Anyway, she bags it up in Ziploc bags, zip top bags I guess you're supposed to say, about anywhere from 2 to 4 cups per bag. This year there wasn't a whole lot left over. We did 2 turkeys. I always do 2 turkeys. I do 1 plain turkey for all the weird people that don't like smoked turkey, and I do a smoked turkey for all the normal people that have good taste. When we're done, I pull all the meat off the bones. Some of it I keep to make sandwiches and stuff with. Some of it goes into the freezer bags. And the little pieces that aren't big enough to do much of anything, along with the bones and all the other parts and pieces that are left over, go into different pots to make broth. This one is getting close. Let's have a look. Yep, starting to boil. Not quite there yet. See if I can fog up the lens. That'd be pretty great, wouldn't it? This one's almost ready. I got a big fire going under it that I will turn down to a more medium flame, or even a low flame, whatever it takes to keep it boiling once it gets to that point. It's a good time of year to do it too, because it's generally cooler outside. It's, you know, just after Thanksgiving, so the weather's colder. Broth, for those of you that don't know, is a really good thing to make. Broth has tons of benefits. Broth is one of those things that even prehistoric people did. They figured out they couldn't eat the bones for the most part. I'm sure they tried cooking them down to nothing or whatever else, but they couldn't eat them, and so instead of eating them, they could get the goodie out of them by boiling the snot out of them for a long time, just keeping it on the fire. Probably as soon as they had skin pots that they could use to boil stuff in, or clay pots, or whatever they happened to have at that time, and they get the goodie out then. Look at that. This is some right here. I hadn't even started actually making broth yet, but this is right here. This is just the stuff that I scraped out of the bottom of the roasting pan. I usually do 1 in the oven in a pan, and then 1 in this roaster right here. And between the 2 of them, right now I've got just a little bit of water in there that I want to get some of the stuff loose. I'm going to do that. Let's get a little bit, some of the last little bits of meat and kind of small chunks that will go into this, because this right here is not so much of a broth as it is a soup base. I usually come up with 2 different products when I start working the turkeys down and cooking them. I come up with soup base, and I come up with actual broth that we will can later. Yeah, that's probably most of it. I thought I pretty much had it. But the broth becomes like this. The broth is the gelatinous looking stuff. In fact, I think that the gelatinous looking stuff, when you really cook it down, is the collagen. And that's the part that cooks out of the bones and cooks out of the tendons and the little parts and connective pieces. Connective tissues, I think, is the proper word. It's got tons of vitamins and minerals and good stuff like that in it. Think of all the calcium you get from boiling bones. Think of all the different amino acids that you get, especially from the collagen. The collagen is full of amino acids. The marrow cooks out, and the marrow has all kinds of omega-3s and things like that. Bone broth is good stuff. I'm telling you, bone broth is good stuff. You can use about any kind of bones. We're using turkey bones in this case. But, you know, I killed that pig here recently, and let me think, did we make, I think she may have boiled some bones down from that. So, you know, any kind of bones you got, use them, boil the heck, and don't just boil them for an hour. We typically, when we boil, depending on what pan we put them in, for instance, this one right here, I will very likely keep this pan going for, it'll go all night for sure, and no telling how much longer beyond that. Let's see, I think it's ready. I can turn the Yeah, it's getting onto it pretty good now. We can turn the fire down a little bit. Keep it going. Let's see here. We're going to turn it down to about there, and then we'll listen and see if we still hear it. We'll boil that one all night for sure. Probably it'll go a full 24 hours. If we boil them in this, and I don't know if we'll boil them in this one or if I'll just cook this one down for a little bit more soup base. But we'll pull the soup. I'll pull the soup base off after usually about, I don't know, 8 or 10 hours. And then the rest of the bones boil forever to get the rest of the goodness out of them, because it takes a while to cook them down. If you cook bones long enough, especially the small ones, you can even eat the bones. I don't know if you've ever noticed in tuna fish and things like that, the small bones get cooked down and they develop kind of a weird texture, but it's an okay texture. But it's not like eating bones, it's like eating like bone meal almost, because of the way it cooks it down. And the same thing will happen with these kind of bones too. Let's see, I've got this one kind of ready. We're going to add a little bit, we're going to turn the heat up on it. Dink. And we're going to add a little water here. The idea is to cover them. And what's going to happen too is I'm going to transfer the bigger bones out of that bigger pot and put them in this one later, because like I say, these are going to be our broth. This is going to be our broth pot. And the other one will be my soup pot that I'll get my soup base. And it'll all go into the freezer except for the broth, which like I said, we will can it for long-term keeping storage. Now, that's probably good enough for that for right now. And then I'll come back, just for the record, I mean, you can do it whatever you want to, but when we put the meat in the bags right there, Happy Hair will take it and she'll just cut it up in little pieces, use the shears to chop it down, make it small so it's easy to use, and she'll make casseroles and I don't know what all else. Hopefully some turkey sandwiches, kind of like tuna salad kind of stuff. Anyway, that's about it. I just wanted to talk about that. I'm going to post a link up under the bottom when I get done here that takes you to a site that talks all about all the benefits of bone broth and the good stuff like that, and just let you look at it yourself. But I hope you'll do it. I hope you'll save some of this stuff. This is one of those skills that could be good to have later on, you know, so that no matter what you cook, you get that extra bit of goodness out of it and not have to throw stuff away. You know me, I hate throwing stuff out anyway, but some stuff is really good and you really don't want to throw it out. Anyway, something to think about, and hopefully you will make broth too. Alright, thanks y'all.